6th of June 1944, Europe. Nazi Germany has conquered the whole continent. The UK is being mercilessly battered into submission. The world is at a turning point in its history. Are we at the end of an era? A civilization? Everything points towards that. The Allies make one last desperate attempt to breach the formidable Atlantic Wall, to try and get a foothold on French soil. 5 Allied beachheads composed of British, American, and Canadian soldiers, some as young as 18, make up these landings in Normandy that begin at midnight of June 6th. John Kelly, an 18-year-old himself, was part of that final assault for freedom, which goes into its concluding phase on 21st February 1945.
The earliest formula of wisdom promises to be its last. God, light, freedom, immortality.
John? John? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Some coffee?
Yes. Kathy,
John?
there's something I need to tell you.
What is it?
Something about the war.
As long as it doesn't pain you to think about those days.
It was horrible, yes, but not all of it.
What do you mean?
When I was there, I had some strange experiences. You might even call them mystical experiences.
Do you mean like miracles?
No, Kathy, not just miracles. This was something more. Let me tell you from the beginning. We were in a zigzag trench down this mountain in France, a graveyard from the last war. We were replacements for the original company which had been wiped out almost to a man. There were German and American bodies lying under the pine trees. It was death. It was chaos. And in all this madness, Kathy, I had a vision. There was nobody near me and time stood still. A little speck on the trench wall began to shine and twinkle, expanding and shrinking, eager to explain itself. This speck contained a shell, a star, a staring eye. It was the universe tied to its neighbor universes, which held it up with love. By love, it breathed. Its work was being what it was and where it was, and had it failed, it would have caused a landslide in the trench. The Milky Way depended on this speck. A curl of smoke wafted above the wall. No smoke could hold its shape like that. This smoke was luminous, conscious, shaping into something that looked like a white beard. It was a beard with lips and then a face emerging out of the haze of light, and then locks of long white hair. I gazed and gazed. This visage filled me with gratitude and gratitude. A sound as of sparkling wine flowed through the air. The scintillating cloud danced and grew before my gaze. Imperceptibly at first, but gradually increasing, I heard laughter, wise and ancient laughter. It was the seed of joy and celebration. Then the light spoke to me, comforted me, told me not to fear. It said, "The Lord is with you."
now and always. Thus it always was, and always will be. Nothing in death or life can separate us, for I live in your heart, and you abide in mine. What is it that you wish, my child?
And I thought, what would I call this great commander of the worlds? What would I say to him? He was no general to be called sir. There was no reverence great enough. So I said to him,
Great sir, greatest of all sirs, I wish to understand.
What is that you wish to understand?
I wish to understand the chaos.
But if my help you choose, your religion you must lose.
now I'm thinking, I was raised Catholic. Should I betray the religion of my birth? But my heart spoke.
Great sir, I have no religion. I have nothing inside me.
Why, John? Why did you say that?
I don't know, Kathy. I'm sorry. I never had a real faith in anything.
I see. What did the voice say?
I waited for a reply, but the light disappeared. I thought I had said the wrong thing and driven him away. But I looked up, and standing there in front of me was a figure clad in white. The light on his face was golden. You could see a certain kind of refinement in this being that was extraordinary, an aesthetic face that I have never seen in another being. I felt the crudeness of my being, a frightened animal in a hole. And then I was pulled into another world, a temple of translucent marble began to form in midair. Tears sprang to my eyes for the unattainability of it, the purity of the Lord's world which now revealed itself to me. Upon a couch within the temple lay a goddess. She was wrapped in robes of midnight blue. Beside the couch lay little velvet slippers. The goddess sat up in a marble chair. I knew that she was aware of me, filled with compassion for her child. I knew then that this was my mother. In all my lives, this was my mother. Waves of sweetness swept my being, and delight rushed up to my head. My head was so full of delight that I would go insane, so I say to her, "My lady, it's war here and I'm a soldier." Next thing I recall, I heard a soldier saying, "Hey Kelly, wake up. We're going off this hill. We've been relieved."
And that was it?
No. So another day goes by, and suddenly I hear him in the sky. He says, "That underpass is going to be hit." You see, there was this train overpass that we had to go under and get to a German headquarters building on the other side. And he almost gave me the picture of the bombardment occurring. I went to my lieutenant and tried to convince him to go another way, but he wouldn't listen. So I went back to my men, and then Great Sir says, "Take your men and go first." And I thought, what? Now you want me to go first? I was cringing, cowardly, trying to find another way out. But he convinced me to go first and go quickly. So we ran down the hill like a track team, and we didn't stop until we got to the building on the other side. They shot at us and we shot back, and when we got to the building, the whole place exploded. But they didn't hit that building. It was their own building. When the smoke cleared, we looked and there was nobody back there. The whole platoon was gone. They had gone around just like I thought we should.
It's amazing, John. I don't know what to say. I want to believe you, but how can you be sure it was real? Soldiers, John, they see things in the war all the time.
I know it's hard to believe. I questioned myself for a long time. My heart always accepted, but my mind doubted. I was never completely sure of my sanity until I met someone else who had seen him like I had. We just liberated a concentration camp. The prisoners, Kathy, they were like ghosts. I was complaining all the time during the war, but what we went through was nothing compared to what these prisoners had endured. Among the prisoners was the Polish colonel. I am sorry, Colonel. I am sorry.
Why are you sorry?
I am ashamed.
Of what?
I don't know. Perhaps of being a human. I am ashamed I was not a better soldier.
It was a terrible thing. A darkness so black that it extinguished the light of man. The light of man had been extinguished. We had to look for the light of God. Some found it, and some didn't. You understand that?
I feel I have no right to say I understand, and yet it is the only thing I understand. Nothing else makes sense.
Those who found it will never forget it. That light cannot be extinguished. I have seen the light of man. What it is. It is finished so easily. So God blows out the human light so that we can see His light.
But sir, the light of man and the light of God, why can't they shine together?
You cannot see the light of the stars by the daylight, no?
No.
It is so. It is the same.
Sir, the concentration camp, why is it so ugly? I mean, why did they cut all the trees? They did not leave a single tree.
No, my son. They could not leave one tree. Wherever men are not free, you must not have one tree. You must not have one flower, because that will make men remember. You must have nothing. You must make a desert. From a wood, you make a desert. That boy, Joachim, once a week, he played for the commandant. Mozart, always Mozart. 2 nights ago, the commandant found 10 prisoners listening under his window. He gave orders for the killing of the prisoners and the boy. But they heard you were coming, and the guards fled before it was done. You understand? They could have stopped the music, broken the violin, but no. They wanted to kill the source of music. That is why there are no trees. They wanted to make it so that not one being remembers how to pull the music down. They can make the earth into a desert. When you fight for one tree, you fight for the forest. And when you fight for the forest, you fight for the planet. But the world of music, the source, never wavers. Never wavers.
But if the source of music never wavers, does the desert matter?
Does it matter? Never ask that question. Everything matters. And yet, I came to that question myself.
Sir, what was the answer?
I asked that question, and it was shown to me. He showed me the world burning, and it was his body burning. I asked him what we could do, because I could not bear it. I asked him what to do. He showed me. He wanted a new body. He wanted the earth to have a new body, an everlasting body. He showed me. He had burnt and raised it down to prepare it. He has burnt and raised it 1,000,000 times to prepare a body for himself. This time, he must descend. He will descend. One day, a light entered my despair, and he stood before me with glowing eyes that healed me and saved my reason.
Yes, Colonel. I have seen that light and felt its healing presence. Your words are so comforting to me.
If we forget everything that we knew, that we will never forget. And if there is any life left in us, I know we must spend it in search for Him. So you see, it matters. It matters very much. He came to show us that the world matters. It matters very much, my son.
Where do we go from here?
Where? Yes, that's always the problem. I will tell you. We must plant a tree. We must plant it there, at the center of the camp.
Sir, you said you would search for him, but where? Where do we find him?
Oh, he loves us too much to be far. He is on earth. He needs a new world. We must plant the trees and show the others how to plant trees.
So you see, Kathy, I wasn't alone.
What happened to the Polish colonel?
I don't know. I went back to the war and I guess they took him to the hospital. I never heard from him after that.
And you, John? What are you going to do now?
I don't know. I've been trying to answer that myself. Anyhow, I've been reading. That's what the colonel said he would do. Find him, read and study.
You could go to college. Why don't you go to college, John?
No. If I go to college, they'll make me read the books they choose. There's no course for what I want. If there were, it would be how to transform the earth, or how to pull another world into this one, or
How to live in two worlds.
how to make them one. There's only one.
Did you find something at the library?
After weeks of searching, I found something. The earliest formula of wisdom promises to be its last. God, light, freedom, immortality. I can't explain it, Kathy. I had goosebumps when I first read it. And it was happening again just now. Does it not do the same for you?
It's very beautiful, John. That's all I can say. It's very beautiful.
These persistent ideals of the race are at once the contradiction of its normal experience and the affirmation of higher and deeper experiences which are abnormal to humanity and only to be attained in their organized entirety by a revolutionary individual effort or an evolutionary general progression. To know, possess, and be the divine being in an animal and egoistic consciousness, to convert our twilit or obscure physical mentality into the plenary supramental illumination, to build peace and a self-existent bliss where there is only a stress of transitory satisfactions besieged by physical pain and emotional suffering, to establish an infinite freedom in a world which presents itself as a group of mechanical necessities, to discover and realize immortal life in a body subject to death, constant mutation. This is offered to us as the manifestation of God in matter and the goal of nature in her terrestrial evolution.
When you read that just now, something changed. Your voice changed. Your eyes changed. You became very beautiful. There was a sort of silver in your voice. It was full of life.
Is it not the most beautiful thing you've ever heard?
It's very beautiful, John. I don't know if I would say the most beautiful. What's wrong with the Sermon on the Mount? What's wrong with what some of the Christian mystics say?
Nothing wrong, Kathy. I took some notes from them too, but great sir, he was there. He led me to this book. I thought it must be his, but the author's photo shows a young Indian with a dark beard and dark, glowing eyes. But I suppose he wanted me to know it was his sort of thing. He wanted me to know.
Can I ask you something, John?
I mean,
During the war, you had all these experiences, and even afterwards. Didn't they leave you with some sort of direction for the future?
I was told to go to India.
India? Did you say India?
After the war, Kathy, I wanted to die. All I wanted was to be with the lady. But great sir came and he took me out of my body, and we traveled over the Mediterranean, and we saw the sands of Egypt turning to dawn. And then I saw it. The old heart-shaped country that was my home. It was my Lord's home. We moved over to the eastern coastline and we saw a cluster of dark grey houses. Within these grey and white buildings and between them, jeweled points of energy began to flood. I knew that men and women were offering their lives to the force that sought to penetrate the earth. My place was there with these advanced guards of the spirit. But I could not go. I thought of you, Kathy, and I thought of my ma, and I thought of my old man. But I shall have to go one day, Kathy. Will you come?
I think my place is here, John. You'll be all right. I hope you find your great sir and the heavenly lady.